Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality and all things asexual. So, if you're asexual and you're sex repulsed asexual like me, you might be finding it really difficult to find movies that have no sex in them. Well, if you've got Disney Plus, check out a movie called Lemonade Mouth. I watched it tonight because, as you know, I haven't been feeling very well. I keep losing my voice. I got a respiratory infection, but it's getting better, and I need to take time out to recover properly because I've got other things going on as well, a rash and things like this. So, yes, Lemonade Mouth. If you haven't seen it, and you don't like spoilers, don't watch this video because I'm going to spoil it for you. But if you haven't seen it yet and you do want spoilers and to be told basically what happens, stay tuned. Or if you've not even considered it, stay tuned because it's a great movie. So, first of all, this movie does not have any sex in it whatsoever, which I absolutely adore. And it's very interesting. It's about five different people who get detention, and whilst they're in detention, they end up forming a band. So it's really interesting. This girl basically goes to a school, and it's a new school, and she's very peed off, and she's a rebel. And so she believes in fighting for what she believes in. She believes in having her own voice and other people having their own voices, being able to choose the clothes they want to wear, being able to be their own person. Now, the guy who's the headmaster of the school, he has been sponsored by a company to have this amazing sports hall. And so the deal is he's got to get rid of other rival things in the school, i.e. the lemonade. I was going to say stand, but it's one of those machines where you can get lemonade from, right? And so what happens is this girl ends up being a rebel and wearing a top to school on the first day that says something about authority. Like, I can't remember what the word was. It wasn't disown authority, but it's something like that, basically like don't listen to authority, that type of thing. So anyway, to cut a long story short, this person gets detention because they end up shouting out in the school hall, which is like the sports hall, about having your right of freedom of speech. And she ends up in the headmaster's office, and that person gets detention. And then one girl gets detention because she was seeing her boyfriend outside of class when she wasn't supposed to be. And then the other people get detention as well, these other three people. And during detention, the person who gives them detention is not happy with the headmaster because she's being plonked in the basement below a toilet. And basically, the music that she loves to help, she likes to help musicians, she likes to help people with their music and creative pursuits, and she's not able to do that because it's seen by the headmaster as the sports are more important than the arts, basically more important than singing and things like that, and music, poetry. It's seen that it's better, and she wants to change it. And whilst they're on detention, the person who's given them detention, the one that's basically into being a musician, helping musicians, she goes out the room. And while she's out the room, the five people in detention have used objects and I think they've started off using objects, first of all, to tap, like tapping on the table, and that's starting to make music. And then they go and pick musical instruments up and they start singing and playing instruments. And then she comes back, and she's encouraging them to go and play in a band, because if the band can make their voice heard, then maybe she'll get a decent room for her students to practice music, and that the sports won't be just the be all and end all of the whole place, basically. She won't get shoved in the basement anymore. So she's kind of rival to the headmaster, even though she's a teacher herself. And also, the rebel takes a lead in kind of getting the group together as a band in the end by saying, we all have a voice. And so each of these 5 people in the band, they've all got their own backstory, and you get insight into all their backstories about why they don't fit in, which is really interesting and good insight, I think. Like, the girl who ends up being the main singer, you find out that her mum died. She lives with her nan, and her dad's in prison. Don't know what her dad's in prison for, though. But basically, since the mother died, the dad went off the rails and did some stuff he's not supposed to have done, but we don't know what that was. There's an Indian girl in it. If you've seen the movie Aladdin, Naomi Scott plays this Indian girl in the movie, and she's not living up to her parents' expectations of being the traditional Indian girl. And they want her to go and get good grades and do what they want her to do, and she loves music. She's a singer as well. She ends up being a singer as well. And then you've got a guy who hates the fact that his middle-aged dad is in a relationship with a 28-year-old woman. And eventually the 28-year-old woman in the movie moves in with him and his dad, and they've also got a kid as well. I don't know if the kid belonged to her or if it was his little brother from the previous relationship. But anyway, he doesn't like the fact she's 28 because obviously he's at school and she's not that much older, I guess, but old enough. But yeah, so that's very interesting that they did a age gap love relationship and showed that in a positive light, although the guy wasn't happy about it. But he in the very end comes good in that, because the woman is very good for the dad, right? He just didn't like the fact about the age gap. And I thought that was a good storyline to have. And then you've also got the guy who's a drummer, but his parents want him to be like his brother and do sports, and he hates sport and is crap at them. And you've also got the girl who's a rebel. She just wants her family to accept her and feel worthy, and like they care about her, and not like she's unworthy, because she feels unworthy, like she's not heard at the dinner table, like her mum and her dad and 2 brothers seem so intelligent, and it seems she gets shoved out the way because of that, and they just don't pay attention to her. But in the very, very end of the movie, I did like the fact they turned it around completely, that the mother said that they're so proud of her for all she's accomplished, that she brought the band together, she started the band, and if it wasn't for her, they wouldn't be together, and she's amazing, and I really liked that. So yeah, I thought it was a good movie. I'd definitely watch it. There's no sex in it whatsoever. There is some romance going on. The only thing that was disappointing for me is there was this guy who was originally with the Indian girl, and he was a creep and he was horrible, and basically he didn't have any time for her. He was in a band throughout the majority of the movie, and he was in a rival band to this band, and his Indian girlfriend, was his girlfriend, found out that he was with another girl, and he was basically flirting with her. You didn't see him kiss her, but you saw him flirt with her, and it looked like they were together. And he ended up for quite a while being a rival. They ended up being rivals, and he wasn't corner her, he wasn't texting her back, he was just ignoring her because he liked the attention of the women, the girls. He liked the fact that his band was more important than her, and he didn't treat her very well at all, and he was very, very manipulative, very, very smarmy and horrible, I thought. And she did split up with him, she didn't say, "I'm splitting up with you," but she just, when she saw him flirting with this girl, she walked out on him. And then she became like a different person, started getting really strong and everything and not needing him. And then when she was successful, then he wanted her. And the problem is like he got her back in the end, which I was really pissed off about. And not only that, he got to be in the band as well at the end. He ditched his own band to save hers because they were having trouble, because they had problems. Like, 2 of the girls had a sore throat in the end. One had a sore throat, one had a cold. The Indian girl had a cold. The main singer had a sore throat, couldn't speak properly. The one guy had a black eye, so couldn't see the keyboard properly. The other guy couldn't drum properly because he damaged his fingers, because the whole band fell apart at one point, and there was only one person left. And so the guy who was the asshole of her ex-boyfriend, if you like, he came to save the day, and he played against himself basically, because his rival band was playing, and he saw that the crowd were cheering and the crowd were actually singing the other band's song, which was a rival band, which was his ex-girlfriend's, the Indian girl's band. And in the end, he went and helped them out because they were struggling, and so they ended up becoming back together again, and he ended up playing in their band and taking the glory with them. But I just thought that was such a bad bit of the storyline, because he's really manipulative. You saw how he was like just manipulating her emotions through the majority of the movie, which was really, really bad. And so I'm thinking to myself, why let him back into your life? He's a manipulator. But she forgave him, and then he was supposed to be good in the end. But I didn't like that bit at all. There was no sex in it. So there was a little bit of romance, you could say, between them. There was some romance between a few of the others, but they weren't like full-on romance like you would usually see. There wasn't any snogging, really. I don't even think there was a kiss. I can't even remember any kissing. Might have been a kiss on the cheek or a little bit, but I can't even barely remember. I mean, there was relationships, but it's more like fancying someone, it wasn't like full blown I'm into you type thing. So yeah. So I think even if you not into romance, you'll probably find the movie fine or okay, because it's not that romantic, if you know what I mean. And definitely no sex. So I loved that. So I definitely think that it's one to watch if you like musicals, if you like bands, if you like coverage of age stuff. You're going to love Lemonade Mouth. Give it a watch, and I hope you enjoyed this movie review. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss an episode. Lots of love to you. Take care. Bye.